This is the year that we are going to end our phone addiction. When it comes to screen time, I feel like the topic of conversation, at least in the content that I consume a lot, is around motherhood. So it's like around not my screen time, but around like, should you give toddlers screen time? How much screen time should you give them? However, what I feel like we have not talked about enough is how much screen time is affecting us as adults. And I think that often, I don't know, like, I think it's because it's one of those things where we all know that it's not good for us. Like, if I were to sit here and read to you stats about like phone addiction and how many people are addicted to their phones and how many people sleep with their phone under their pillow and all this stuff, like, you would just be kind of like, yeah, like, I'm not like, no one is really surprised by it. But I do think that we maybe don't take it seriously enough and we aren't realizing how much it is like drastically changing our brains and society, or like maybe we don't want to admit it because it is such a hard addiction to break and it is such a hard thing to manage and deal with. I think that it's just crazy because of how much like dopamine our phones give us without it, being damaging in the same way that like, smoking or drinking is, or like all the like other addictions that you can have. It can be hard to feel like, okay, is it really doing that much damage? Like, I know it's not good for me, but is it really doing that much damage? For me, at the end of this summer, I just really noticed that it was affecting me and hurting me more than it was helping me. I do not like the feeling of anxiety and stress that I feel coursing through my body when I go to sleep with my phone in my room, when I wake up and my phone is the first thing that I look at. And I also don't like the feeling of for when I'm with someone and if they are constantly on their phone, I don't feel good. And I know that I can do that to people too. So I'm like, wait, okay, this is not like, this is not lining up with what I want my values of life to be. Also, as a mom, it's been very convicting and challenging because the more that I think about just like what I'm doing throughout the day, I'm like, how many times a day does my son see me on my phone rather than like looking at him or just paying attention to the world around us? So it's really been something that has been like on my heart that I've been trying to work on. So today we're going to unpack what I have been doing to break my phone addiction and what you can do to break your phone addiction. One thing that I want to just encourage you with, this time of year is crucial for our habits and routines, okay? Because this time of year, it's, we're getting to the end. So it just feels like, you know what? I can take a pause on my habits and routines. I can just kind of like let things go to the back burner. That's going to be one of my New Year's resolutions, okay? I'm going to work on my phone addiction in 2026. I'm going to break my social media scrolling addiction in January. Like, that's going to be a January problem, but like, it's Christmas time. Like, I want to look at fun reels and like see what my friends are up to and all that stuff. Let's not give up on ourselves, okay? We still have 2 months of the year to be very intentional and to work on our habits and routines so that we can start the new year fresh and as like most in line with what we are wanting our life to look like as possible, okay? Hello and welcome back to the Hot Mess Habits podcast. My name is Victoria Harder. I'm your host. Around here, we talk about all things productivity, wellness, lifestyle for the type B everyday girly who has real life responsibilities. That's me, and that is all of you. Thank you so much for all of you who have tuned in and subscribed recently. This podcast has been such a blessing to me and has been so challenging for me to just like try to be as consistent as possible. I just started my maternity leave this past week. So I'm so excited, or I don't even know what day it is today. Well, I don't know what day this podcast episode is coming out. I might have already started maternity leave a week ago or yesterday. I don't remember which day this is coming out. But anyways, I'm very excited to be able to just spend more time actually creating content more consistently as I'm on maternity leave and have a little bit more time and space to do so. When it comes to using our phone, the one thing is just how much it distracts us from not only regular life as in terms of like the people and things that are happening right in front of us, but also even when we're trying to work on tasks and be productive, how much it steals our distraction. So like, how many times have you gone on your phone? You're like, oh, I need to go and check to see if my order has been delivered or not. And then you go and click, you open your phone, and then suddenly you've scrolled on your phone on TikTok for 20 minutes. Okay. I can't relate. No, just kidding. I can very much relate because that's also one thing that is so frustrating, especially if you already struggle with like your focus and your discipline and your habits, when you're actually trying to do them and then you are being constantly like distracted and pulled away from those things, it can be really hard and really frustrating. And so I want to just challenge you that like, if you don't feel, you don't feel the weight of like, you're like, I don't really feel like it's taking away from relationships. I don't really feel like it's harming me that much. Even if it's just for the sake of your productivity that you want to work on this, and that like, you're like, I just want to be able to get more things done. That can be a reason. Okay. It doesn't matter what your reason is. I just hope that we can all work on this together, because I do think that when I spend less time on my phone, I'm a more mentally healthy person. Okay. Starting off strong, we need to make it hard to be on our phone, or at least harder. Okay. The whole thing with your phone is how easy it is to lean on and go to, okay? It is so easy for me to just like quickly, even if I'm even mid conversation, if someone brings something up, it is so easy for me to just pick this up and like just search quickly so that I have the answer instantly. It is so easy for me if I remember like, oh, we are out of laundry detergent. I can just so quickly go on my phone, go on Amazon, and again, I go and do this, and then suddenly I'm on my phone for 20 minutes when I'm supposed to be doing my laundry. So the key thing here is we want to make it harder for us to be able to have access to our phone at all times. This can mean a variety of things to you. I, in the past, have tried many things to do this, okay? I have tried using Apple's like screen time, what's it called? Like limits, okay? So where you put a limit on like, okay, I'm only going to go on Instagram for like an hour or like 20 minutes or whatever. And then it gives you a like notification and says like, you've been used up your time. And then sometimes you can put like a password on it. I've tried doing that. I feel like I always just find a way to like get around it. So that didn't really work for me, but I know some people that works for, they just need that like little cue for it to come up and be like, you've used your time up. They're like, okay, sounds good. So that's like something that you can try. I haven't done this, but I know some people will use the screen time function and then they'll get someone else to have their password. I feel like that really works if you live with someone, but I feel like that can be, I don't know. I don't know if that is the best system or not. I love using the brick. I got the brick in September, so I've been using it for like 3 months now. I feel like that has been a game changer in terms of phone addiction and screen time use. If you are unfamiliar, the brick is a physical little device. You tap into your phone and then it will automatically, or not automatically, but once you do that, it will not allow you to access certain apps. So I have mine set. Mine I have set so basically I can access any apps on my phone other than my social media apps. So I have it so that like I can still, I can still call, I can still text, I can go on like my banking app, whatever, but I just can't use like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, any of those things. I've been loving to do this in the evenings as well as one like not weekend, like one day on the weekend for a full day. I tried to do a full day just to have, especially because social media is part of my job. So having a full reset from scrolling is very beneficial to me. I'm sure that it would be for anyone, but definitely makes a big difference in how I feel throughout my work week. So I highly recommend using a brick. And then the other thing is to just actually have your phone physically not in the same room as you, like out of arm's reach. I like to do this a few different ways. First of all, when I need to actually work, when I need to work and be as productive as possible, like if I'm working on something where I'm like, okay, I need to spend like an hour and get into like a really deep work mode, I will physically just like put my phone so that I cannot reach it from where I'm standing on my desk or where I'm sitting at my desk. Because, again, sometimes when you're working and then you like have a thought pop up of like, oh, I didn't like respond to this text, or I need to do this, and it's just going to take me like 2 minutes. Just those little micro distractions can really completely derail your work, especially if you only you're like, I just need to spend an hour focused to get this thing done. So that's really helpful. Again, with the physical, like physically removing your phone, I love to not have my phone in our bedroom while we sleep. That has been like, if you don't do anything else, I feel like that is the biggest thing, is to just like put your charger in the kitchen, in the living room, charge your phone in the evening out there, and then go to bed. Then you won't doom scroll before bed. If you have a random thought pop up into your head of like, oh, I need to do this or I need to order this, you just have to be like, it's okay, I'll do it in the morning. Or if you like really feel like you need to do it, you have to go and walk and get your phone. So it's like, are you going to do that? Probably not. You probably are just going to be like, I can wait for the morning. And it also, this is the biggest thing. I mean, both of these things, like the evening thing's a game changer, but also even in the morning, You are not like the first thing you're not going to do is have your phone like this. Like you haven't even like opened your eyes yet. You haven't even seen the outdoor light yet. And you're just shining this into your eyes. That, like, to me, not having that and not doing that is the biggest game changer ever. When my life has been the most stressful has been when I check my phone first thing in the morning. When I check my texts and my emails and everything first thing in the morning, that just destroys my soul, and it does not help me to it doesn't help me in any way. It's not helping me be productive, even if I think it is, even if I'm like, oh, well, then I can just like, get ahead of the day. No, it never actually does. It only ever makes me more anxious and more stressed and feel like I'm behind. Like, you don't want to wake up and see like your boss's feedback at 7 a.m. in the morning. You don't want to wake up and see what's happening on the other side of the world that you can't do anything about at 6 in the morning. You don't need to see like the people that you follow that are in a different time zone that have already like done their workout, had their breakfast, started their day, made a podcast, created a business, like did all the things before 6 a.m. before you even opened your little eyes. You just don't need to see that in the morning. I feel like that is just like not what our phones are meant for. And that to me actually allows me to breathe when I do that. The last thing with distancing your phone from yourself is I have been trying to do this. I'm not the best at this because I'm trying to work on this though, because I feel like this is where our phones are like seeping into like our social interactions. Is I'm really trying to, when like I'm visiting with a friend, to not have my phone like touching me. So to have my phone like either like if I'm at a coffee shop with someone, like my phone in my purse so that I can't see it, like it's not on the table. Or even better, like if I'm at someone's house, like just leaving my phone by my shoes when I come in so that I'm not tempted to just like check my text quick as like the night's going on, or check on things quick. I'm really trying to work on that one. For the next section, I want to talk about what we are replacing our scrolling with, because what we can do is we can be like, especially if you are extreme, like it's an either all or nothing mindset, which is what I can be like. What we can do is we can be like, okay, I'm going to stop this habit. I'm going to stop doing this thing. I'm cutting myself off. We're not doing it anymore. I'm going to become a new person. And you can do it for like a couple days. But then if you're not taking the time to like build out a different way of how you want to do things, you will just feel the emptiness and the void of like, wait, now I don't have anything to do. Like, I used to like scroll my phone before bed. I used to like to browse Pinterest in the morning. I used to like to check on the weather before I got dressed. Like all these things, you can kind of be like, wait, what am I doing? This is not fun. And then you revert like 3 days later. You're like, it's fine. I'll just bring my phone to bed. It's fine. So with basic like habit creation and psychology, we want to make sure that when we're taking something away that we've been relying on for a long time, that we're, instead of just like having that be a void and just leaving it up to chance to see what happens, that we are actively trying to replace that with a better behavior. Okay. And especially for those of us who, struggle with our dopamine production to begin with, if you're an ADHD girly, this is going to be challenging for you. Your phone addiction is really, everyone can struggle with it, but I feel like us ADHD girls love the hit of dopamine that our phone can bring us. So we want to make sure that we are giving our brain something else to focus on, and other ways of dopamine, even if they're not as like strong, but that we are still trying to do something. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about like different patterns throughout your day in areas that you are scrolling that you want to stop, and what are some things that you can do in lieu of. 2 examples for me. One of them was I was finding myself scrolling. Well, when I was trying to break my habit of scrolling before bed, what I started to do was this is when I invested in my Kindle, and I have my Kindle filled up with so many different books that are like from different genres. And I try to read my Kindle before bed every single night. And because I know that I'm trying to make this as least boring as possible for me, if I'm not liking a book, I will just switch to another book. I have lots of books on there to choose from so that I don't feel ever like stuck in a reading slump of like, I don't want to have to read this book right now. It's feeling boring to me. I'll just swap to another book. I do try to stay on the same book, but if I'm ever kind of getting in that feeling where I'm like, oh, I don't really like the book I'm reading right now. I'm going to bring my phone in. I'm like, no, let's just read a different book. Like read a nonfiction book, read something easy. Because I know the way that I am, I know that sometimes I am going to get bored of using my Kindle. So I do also have some nonfiction, like actual physical books beside my bed as well. So I have like a Martha Stewart one. I have like a like knitting one. I have some hobby ones, just so that I have some physical, tangible things to look at that aren't my phone, so that if there ever is a night where I'm like, oh, I don't really feel like reading my Kindle, I do have those as an option for myself. I also will say if I'm really struggling and like wanting to have my phone in my room, I will sometimes allow myself to use my iPad instead. And for me, this is like a lesser of the evils in terms of like, I don't ideally want to go be scrolling on my iPad every night before bed, but the only really app that I like to use on my iPad is Pinterest. So that's kind of like, to me, I'm like, okay, if I'm really struggling and I feel like I want to have my phone, I'll be like, let's go on the iPad instead. And it just helps me to not have this beside me. I've never really been tempted to like scroll on my iPad in the mornings. It's really truly like I'll scroll Pinterest at night and then in the morning I just go about my day. Another example that I'll give you for like a replacement for phone scrolling is another area that I was struggling with was watching movies. Okay. I would watch a movie and I would have my phone with me and I would scroll my phone while I was watching a movie. And I'm like, okay, girl, like first of all, what's the point of watching this movie? Because if you ever feel like you can't remember what is happening in movies and you're like, oh, I just feel like I have such a bad memory. Like I can't remember, like, I don't really remember that movie. Like I know I've seen it, but I can't really remember it. But then somehow you can remember like all the movies you saw before you were like 16. It's probably because you're scrolling through every single movie that you watch, or why you can remember the ones that you've seen in the theaters. It's because you aren't scrolling through the movie. And I had that realization of like, oh, the reason that I don't remember the movies that I'm watching is because I'm literally going like this. I'm listening to the movie, so like I still know what it's about, but I'm like looking down. I'm not even looking up at the screen. Anyways, I digress. But one thing that did to replace my scrolling with a movie, because again, when I started trying to do this, I was like, okay, I'm going to leave my phone on the other side of the room when we watch a movie. I would literally feel, this is embarrassing. I would literally feel restless and be like, this movie's boring. Like, this movie's boring. Like, how, girl, be so for real. I'm literally bored of a movie that's being played for me. That's supposed to be like entertainment. Anyways, I need my little screen to cope. But what I've been doing is I started knitting this year, and that has been so nice because it allows me to do something with my hands. I think for me, it's like I need to like keep my hands busy, like doing something. So I can knit while watching a movie. So that has been really nice because I'm still doing something with my hands, but I'm not like looking down at it in the same way as my phone. And I can kind of like stop for a little bit, watch the movie. And it is actually crazy. I'm no psychologist. And I know that there's like, again, I can tell you this and you can roll your eyes or not or whatever. But I will say that when you actually like get into even just slightly a habit of it, you can really start to see the benefits of putting your phone down and even just like watching a movie. I'm like, oh, this is like why movies are good. Like this is like actually when I'm actually fully watching a movie and fully immersed in it. If you push past those like 10 minutes where you're like, I feel like I'm bored. I feel like I'm bored. You could actually be like, oh, this is actually really good. I'm following the storyline. I'm not just like half listening, half not, half here, half not. So I encourage you to try. If you don't struggle with this, ignore this and pretend that I'm not talking because I probably sound crazy to you. Once you have gotten in a rhythm of doing some of these things, the last thing I would encourage you to do is to create some intentional boundaries and also some rhythms that are phone free. This could mean very different things to different people, but I want to give you some examples of things that you could pull. So for some things that you could do for like moments in your day that are without your phone, you could say that like, okay, I'm not going to go on my phone. This could be one of your things. I'm not going to go on my phone until after I've had my morning coffee. So, you keep your phone plugged in at night, then you come, make your coffee, have your breakfast, and then you go and grab your phone. That just like is like kind of expanding that time and allowing you to like have a moment in the morning where you're just present with what's going on. You could go on a walk without your phone. I feel like most people go on these days, they're on a walk, they're listening to music, They're listening to Hot Mess Habits podcast. Shout out to the girlies who tag me when they're on their hot girl walks with their podcast. However, maybe you want to do like, okay, on my lunch break at work, I've been on screens all day. So on my lunch break, I'm going to go for a 5-minute walk and I'm not going to go on my phone. Again, you could do read. You're going to read before bed instead of scrolling. You're going to create a evening routine that does not involve doom scrolling. You're going to scroll. You're going to say, okay, I can scroll until 8 p.m. and then I'm going to put my phone away. Like set some parameters and boundaries for yourself. You could do no phone at dinner. I feel like this is something that, like Levi and I haven't officially said this, but this is something we've been obviously trying to do with having our toddler be part of dinner, is like not having our phones, like not being texting or doing stuff on our phones during meal times. And then you could also try implementing a day of the week where you don't go on your phone. For me, I try to tie this into like a Sabbath practice, and do either like a Saturday or Sunday where I'm fully not, I have my phone bricked. I do have my phone because I do like to be able to like call family and stuff and have access, but I do like to try to brick my phone so that I can't go on any social media for at least one day of the weekend. To sum it all up, I just want to encourage you, instead of spending time talking about how you're going to break your phone addiction, like looking up different hobbies that you could do, spending hours like writing out like, this is my ideal boundaries, this is what I'm going to do. I just want to challenge you like today to spend some time without your phone. I want to challenge you tonight to put your phone in a different room, go to sleep, don't go on your phone till 9 the next morning, and tell me how you feel. I want to encourage you to take one day a week where you don't check social media, where you delete it completely off your phone. Just do one thing this week to take a step toward breaking your phone addiction. Don't wait till 2026. Start now. Start when the holiday season comes and when there's so much overconsumption and messaging about how much you need to buy. And like, this is the peak time of year when people are wanting your attention. And so I just want you to be able to feel peace again. I want you to be able to feel bored again. I want you to be able to watch a movie and feel like that was a great movie. And like, I remember that movie, and not feel like you're just listening to it and scrolling on your phone. Lastly, pay attention to the people that are right in front of you. As a mom, this has been the thing that has been the most challenging for me, as well as just in my friendships and with my family. Truly, the time that we have with other people is such a gift. And so I want to spend that time actually being in their presence and not just being on my device all the time. So I hope that this episode does not make you feel guilty, because I am right here with you working on this. I hope it doesn't make you feel guilty, but that it encourages you to get a hold of your phone addiction, be intentional about your life before 2026 comes. Let me know if you are taking any of this advice, if there's anything that you have to add that I was missing. Would love to hear it. We will see you guys back here next week. Love you guys. Bye.